bookworms! Today I'm doing the Creatures of the Night book tag. I was tagged to do this by Tiffany from About to Read, who is so awesome, and you should absolutely watch her channel if you don't already watch her videos. I will link it down below. She really has like the best book hauls ever. Like, I find out about so many new things whenever I watch the ones that she uploads, and it's amazing, and she's awesome. So yeah, you should subscribe to her. But I'm really happy that she tagged me for this video because it's one that I had actually wanted to do on my own since it's October and Halloween is coming, and I wasn't a booktuber last year, so I wasn't, you know, making videos when this was a big thing. So now I'm really excited that I can do my own version. The original video and tag was created by Catty-tastic, and I will also link her channel down below. She is also really awesome, so you should subscribe to her too. Oh, so actually before I get started, the Creatures of the Night book tag is basically going to be me recommending some of my favorite books with different spooky creatures in them. So now I'll get started. The first one is vampires, and while I think everyone is like really burnt out on vampires at this point, I would still have to say that one of my favorite vampire series ever written is the Sookie Stackhouse series by Charlaine Harris. I have been reading these for so long, like before True Blood was even a TV show or anything, and I just really love the main character, and I also like really love the books a billion times more than the TV show. They kind of like ruined the whole story that was going on there, and it makes me really annoyed, so I had to stop watching that after a few seasons because I just couldn't like accept the changes. But okay, so I love these books up until like the last few because it started getting a little bit boring, and then I refuse to read the last one because I know how it ends and I hate it. So I am just going to live the rest of my life in denial and pretend that that book never happened, so that I can be happy and enjoy the rest of the series. Number 2 is werewolves, and I'm going to be totally honest here. I hate werewolves. They're always interrupting my vampire stories, and they need to like get out and find their own books because I don't care. I just don't care what they're doing. I don't want to read about them. I have no interest. I like, you know, the thin, cold, sickly looking bloodsuckers. I don't want these like, ugh, werewolves, the warm-blooded, hairy, whatever, get out of my books. So I don't have any werewolf recommendations. If you do like werewolves, I apologize, and perhaps you can recommend a series where it could change my outlook on them, but I'm not positive, not promising anything. So leave some werewolf recommendations down below if you feel very strongly about any particular series or whatever. But probably make sure there's no vampires in them, because then again, I'll just end up annoyed that there's a werewolf. Number 3 is zombies, and for this I have to choose Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead comic. This comic was released by Image, I believe, and you may or may not be familiar with the TV show because it's pretty darn popular. This is another thing where I really, really, really love the comic, like a lot more than the TV show. I loved the first season of the TV show, and then they switched like the showrunner, and there was all this drama, and then by the time we got to the mid-season finale of season 3, I believe it was, that is when I called it quits, because Andrea and Michonne are like super awesome, badass female characters in the comic, and on the TV show the writing was just too misogynistic and their characters just were not what they were in the books, and it really upset me, so I just couldn't watch it anymore. Although I do hear that it gets better, so maybe I will catch up at some point. If you haven't read the comic, you should absolutely do that because you'll get so much more out of it, and there are so many things that they change that are so much better in the comic. So just read it if you haven't. They come in these really great editions. This is like a bound like hardcover volume. They're not that expensive. The next one is Ghost. So this is actually a book that I just finished a few days ago, and it is the first book that I finished reading from my October TBR, and that is Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. I am like obsessed with this book, like obsessed. It's really creepy. It has a very supernatural type vibe because it's about this teenage boy who's a ghost hunter. And I just like fell in love with this story. And Kendare Blake's writing is so gorgeous. Like, you wouldn't think that it could be because you're talking about like creepy ghosts and blood and murder and like all that kind of stuff, but it's like the way that she writes it is like beautiful. I just like, oh my god, I could not get enough of it. I cannot wait to read the second book because it was that good. Next is Witch, Warlock, and Spellcaster. Next is Fairy or Fae, and for that, I definitely choose A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I really loved the world that she built in this book, and I really fell in love with some of the different fairies that are in the courts. I really cannot wait for the second book. They're actually announcing the title for it tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited about that, and you'll be able to tell when I filmed this now based on that little tidbit of information. This is just like another book that is really, really well written, really wonderful, and oh, I love it. And look at this cover. It's so pretty. So pretty it hurts. Yeah. Sarah J. Maas is just wonderful. Maas. I always say her name wrong now that I know the correct way to say it. I'm actually going to be combining the next two, which are Angels and Demons, and for those I'm choosing Laini Taylor's Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. Again, another series that is just beautifully written. Like, all of the descriptions and everything of the different locations are just like, they're simply divine. Like, you need to read this if you haven't read it yet. It's just so beautiful, and it's such a heartbreaking story. I finished reading the second one a little while ago, and I actually haven't dove into the third one yet because the second one ripped my heart out, and I feel like I'm not prepared yet for what is going to be coming in the third, so that's why I haven't read it yet, but I think I'm going to be getting to it soon. It's also a bigger book, but oh my gosh, now that I'm talking about it again, I think I need to revisit this world. Next is Alien, and for that I choose These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Actually, it's funny, this is one that the one that Tiffany used for Ghosts, but I'm going to use it for Aliens because it takes place in space. There are our two main characters here, Lilac. Yes, Lilac and Tarver. And they crash land on this mysterious planet that seems very uninhibited after a spaceship crash. It's just a really interesting story to follow. I don't know, their story was just so compelling to me. I was really interested the whole time. And there's actually a second book and a third book to this as well, but I haven't read the second one yet. The third one actually comes out in December, I think, and I haven't been as apt to jump into them because it doesn't follow the main characters from this book. They're more of a companion type series, so it's following different people. But I'm sure that they will make appearances in it, so maybe I should just read that soon too. Yeah. And the final question, number 10, is Superpowered Human, and for that I am choosing Brandon Sanderson's The Reckoners series. Can't find the first book. It's somewhere in my basement because it probably got lost during my move. But this is the second book in the series. The first one's called Steelheart. The second one is called Firefight. And it's about these people that have superpowers. They're called epics, and they basically rule by fear. It was just a great story. It was done really, really well. And I actually heard that it got optioned for a film recently, and I'm so excited about that because it's so good. It's really fun to read about superheroes from a writer that isn't necessarily writing for, Marvel or DC or one of the typical comic book companies. To read an actual novel about superheroes is just something that I never thought that I would love as much as I did. Brandon Sanderson is just fantastic all the time. So that is it for my Creatures of the Night book tag. Thank you again, Tiffany, for tagging me. This was really fun. And I definitely feel more in the Halloween spirit now. I'm going to have to look through and see who I'm going to tag because I don't know who has done this already or not, but I will name 3 people. So first I will tag Riley from Riley Marie, Monica from Monica Watson, and Victoria from Victoria Shaw's. And if any of the three of you have done this tag already, just feel free to ignore me. But if not, you should definitely do it now. And I will link all of their channels down below and anyone else who I might tag. But 3 people is probably good. I might stick with that. So yeah, I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye!